Hey everyone, me again, Paisley Imperfect, and today, just like every day, I want to just jump right in. Something that's been standing out to me lately as we've been talking about President Nelson's a plea to my sisters and how we can help make ourselves better, what we can work on. The relationship thing has been standing out to me. Being able to work on our relationships and building relationships specifically with those who are not members of the church. And remember, I don't know if you remember that quote. We talked about a quote from Sister Eubank weeks ago. She was actually summarizing President Kimball's quote that President Nelson requoted, and then she requoted about how the church's growth would be largely because of the relationships that the sisters of the church are building with other women outside the church. And she gave us these 2 bullet points. She said, it will be the good relationships of women that will trigger much of the major growth coming to the church in the years ahead. And she said, the friendships that Relief Society women, young women, and primary girls build with sincere, faithful, godly women and girls of other faiths and beliefs will be a significant force in how the church grows in the last days. So she gave us those 2 bullet points, and this whole relationship thing has kind of been tickling my brain. So how do we build these relationships? And rather than just jumping into a whole bunch of quotes, I wanted to take a different approach and just think about it from a common sense perspective. I do have some quotes and I will share them later. But first, I just kind of wanted to think about it from as common sense. So we know the golden rule, right? Do unto others as you would have others do unto you. Or in other words, treat others with kindness. Be nice to them. Jesus gave us the 2 great commandments. Love God and then love your neighbor as yourself. Love your neighbor as yourself. And so that tells us again, love other people, treat them with kindness. And then we could paraphrase King Benjamin from the Book of Mormon and come to the conclusion that to love others is to serve others. And then I don't know about the rest of you, but there's been this phrase that's been popping up in my life, specifically over maybe the last year or so, maybe not even that long, but people say it to me all the time. Or I hear them say it to each other, or I keep hearing this phrase, give yourself grace, or give them some grace. Give it to yourself, give it to others, but show grace, show latitude, give people the benefit of the doubt. As you interact with your friends, do so with kindness and compassion, giving them the benefit of the doubt and letting them do or get or say what they need. And then don't assume the worst. Try to trust people. Trust people until they give you a reason not to. I usually do things the other way around. I hold trust until they've earned it. And that's something that I've actually been working on for years, is try and trust people until they give me a reason not to. I'm not quite there yet, but I'm working on that. And so as I was putting together my thoughts for this, I did come across an article from August 2018 in the Liahona, the ensign back then. And if you remember, it was in April of 2018 when visiting teaching and home teaching was switched to ministering. And I don't want to make this about ministering. I want to keep this on relationship building. I just want to share this one statement from that article, and this is what it opens up with. The article, by the way, is called Building Meaningful Relationships. Again, August of 2018. It says, the invitation to minister to others is an opportunity to build caring relationships with them. The kind of relationship that would make them comfortable asking for or accepting our help. When we have made the effort to develop that kind of relationship, God is able to change lives on both sides of the relationship. So while that specifically is talking about ministering, I don't think that it's exclusive. I think that as we work to build our relationship and we put in the effort, we put in some genuine, loving, compassionate effort, then the Lord can change both our life and the life of the person with whom we are building this relationship. This article offers 5 points for us to focus on as we build these relationships. And remember how we started out just a couple minutes ago with common sense, right? Be nice, share, like the things that we learn in kindergarten. These 5 points are not things that are new. They're not things you've never heard before. They're simple, easy. So simple and easy are not the same, right? These 5 points are very simple. They are not always going to be easy. Number 1, for example, is spend time together. How much time do you have to spend with your friends? I have 3 little kids. I don't have much time to spend with my friends. In fact, a couple of my friends were over on a Sunday afternoon a couple of weeks ago to work on some family history stuff together. And I was mentioning how, like, you know, when you're in junior high or high school or elementary school, as you're growing up as a kid, you think your best friend is somebody that you spend all of your time with. You have sleepovers at their house. You go with their family out to dinner, or you go do things with them. You're with them all the time. But then when you get older and you have your own family, when are you going to do that? She's driving her kids to soccer practice and I'm driving my kids to piano lessons, and like, when? So simple, not necessarily easy. But in this article, I really liked how it doesn't say that we have to show up at their house every day or even every month. It boils it down to letting people know that you care. And one of the quotes from this article said, talk to them at church, use whatever additional means makes sense, such as email, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Skype, phone calls, or sending a card. The point is, be present in their life. If that means that you can show up at their front door, cool, go show up at their front door. If it doesn't, find a different way. But it has to be genuine and it has to be sincere. You can see through it. If I showed up at your house and I was like, hey, I want to be your friend, you could see right through it if I was just showing up at your house to be your friend because I wanted to, I don't know, I wanted you to bake me something. So I'm going to show up at your house and be your friend until you bake me that thing. Like, you're going to see right through that. Everybody else is going to see right through that if you do that to them. So just don't. Be genuine and be sincere. Don't force it, but also make sure you give it some time. You're not going to make friends with everybody right away. I have said it many times. I am an acquired taste. I do not always make friends right away. Usually people think that I hate them right off the bat. It's just the blessing of my face. So it's important to give it some time and be genuine. The second point was to learn about them. Write things down if you need to. My husband is really, really good at this. Whenever he's talking to somebody new and whenever he gets to a point in a relationship where he's like, I really like this person, I feel like they're my friend. He started this with his home teaching families. Again, I'm not making this about home teaching. But this is how it started. He started it with them, but he finds out people's birthdays or important days, birthdays, anniversaries. He's got the birthdays for the next door neighbors in his phone. And every year when they come up, he sends them a text. And sometimes it's the only text he sends them every year. He'll kind of chuckle sometimes and be like, ugh, darn it. The last time I sent this person a text was last year on their birthday, as he's typing it into his phone, whatever. But he's really good at letting them know, hey, I have not forgotten about you. You are still important enough in my life for me to send you a birthday text. And he thinks about them all day. He'll send me a text. Hey, just remember it's so-and-so's birthday today, because he knows I that's just not my thing. So he'll send me a text and tell me to send it to. So learn about people and remember what they care about. Number 3 is communicate with caring. And to quote the article, it says, building meaningful relationships requires us to go beyond the superficial. Listening is a critical part of communicating that you care. When you listen carefully, your opportunity to help others come into Christ increases as you gain understanding and insight into their needs and as they feel loved, understood, and safe. That one, I think, they're all very applicable to building relationships with people who are not of our faith, not of our religion, not of our background. Building meaningful relationships requires that we listen, pay attention, put the birthday in your phone, and be able to come back to that information later, which is going to come in handy with number 5. Number 4 is appreciate differences as well as commonalities. I have said this 1,000 times in my life. We were not, and I'll keep saying it till the day I die, we were not put here on this earth one person at a time. We know that this earth is a test. We know that we are being tested and tried and refined so that we can become more like our Heavenly Father. But He didn't send us here one at a time. It's not an individual exam that we're trying to pass. This is a group project, if you will. And we can benefit from what we have in common, and we can benefit from our differences. So the example that came to my mind as I was kind of thinking through this a little bit earlier, we have a set of missionaries in our ward. One is from a town in Utah I've never heard of and now can't remember the name of. And the other one is from South Korea. Very, very different backgrounds. In South Korea, you're required to provide military service as soon as you turn 18. And so the elder from South Korea, he's 23. He's done his service to his country, and now he's serving a mission because it's important to him. So these two elders have something very, very, very important in common. Their testimony of Jesus Christ and their testimony of the restored gospel, their testimony of Joseph Smith of the Book of Mormon, Latter-day Prophets, all of those things. They have all of those things in common. Their upbringing is very different. Their age is very different. One is 18, one is 23. That's kind of a big gap. It's getting a little bit smaller when you get to that age, but it's still a significant gap. My husband left and went on his mission at 23 after he served in the Marine Corps, and they used to call him Grandpa. Like, it's a thing, right? But they can both benefit from the differences and the commonalities, just like we can. We can benefit from the differences and commonalities from anybody, people that we go to church with, people that we don't go to church with. We were not placed on this earth alone to go through this test alone. We have a community, we have a village. And then number 5, be sensitive to the people that you serve and serve them in ways that they need. The only example that is coming to mind is blueberries. I do not like blueberries. I don't. I've never liked blueberries. They're even worse when they're put in some nasty blueberry muffin that's been sitting in a package on a shelf. Do not bring me blueberry muffins. I do not like them. Sam, I am. But some very well-meaning person could show up at my door with blueberry muffins, and I would smile and I would nod and I would say, thank you very much for my blueberry muffins. And I would appreciate them and I would feed them to my kids, but I would not eat them. That the service isn't wasted on me, and I still hope and pray that that person would get the blessings that they deserve for going outside of themselves and doing something kind for someone else. It did not necessarily bless my life. Serve others. Be sensitive enough to the people around you that you can serve them in the ways that they need to be served. You can be there this is a quote from the article, you can be there to provide comfort, support, and needed help when there is an emergency, illness, or urgent situation. But in too many relationships, we are reactive. And it's possible to be proactive. When we're paying attention to our friends and we're spending time with them and we're communicating and we're listening, we can be proactive. Case in point, on Sunday, was not having a super fantastic day. And there was this one particular friend who I knew If she looked at my face or if I looked her in the eyes, she would know. So I just kind of avoided her on Sunday. It was just like, I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to deal with it. I want to be here at church. I want to feel the Spirit in my Sunday school class. And then I want to go home and take a nap. Or there's no taking a nap around here on Sunday. We had a baptism after church. There was plenty to do. But I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to deal with it. I will be fine. And so I just kind of avoided her. And she texted me later that day. She knew. I didn't even have to make eye contact with her. I passed her in the hallway one time. She was talking to someone else. And I was talking to my child. She just knew. Because she listens and she pays attention. And she's learned things about me. And so she texted me later that day and pulled it all out of me. And within an hour and a half, I felt 1,000 times better. I could have avoided all of that if I had just talked to her in the first place. Okay, none of these 5, let's just do a quick review. Number 1, spend time together. Number 2, learn about them. Number 3, communicate with caring. 4, appreciate differences as well as commonalities. And number 5, serve. None of these 5 relationship builders are exclusive to members of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. None of them are exclusive to your family. None of them are exclusive only to your best friends that you already have. These are ways that we can build relationships with anyone. And as we pay attention, Heavenly Father will point out the people that He has placed us in the path of. And we can help them. Okay. With that, I'm just going to close by reminding you that self-improvement is a journey that we take together. So let's continue to support and inspire each other along the way. Thank you so much for being here with me. I appreciate your time.